Today we are going to make a tea, coffee, and so on, cappuccino, right? Using turtle diagram is going to be a very interesting topic. And just to set the context, so turtle diagram, and then you have other associated document like SIPOC, SIPOC, supplier input process output customer. You have other document called PDCA, plan do check tech. All it is coming in the branch of process approach. In the previous video, we talked about the ISO requirement. In that, we talked about process approach, right? So PDCA, and we also talked about turtle diagram and all that. Now, this video, I have picked up the simple example to understand the turtle diagram better. And not only that, so this can be easily understood, like what you can keep it in input, output, how much, with whom, what, and how, and everything. And also added like where and when and everything. And not only that, the risk management, what are the document records are expected, everything you can understand from the simple, very simple example of tea. It could be coffee, it could be cappuccino, it could be anything, right? I have used this app called app.creately.com, and it was easy for me to create and edit the boxes, everything, and it can be done in Excel, various other PowerPoint, and so on. And I find it using the turtle diagram or any app or anything, so I can easily pick it from here, right? So that's one of the reason I have just picked from creately.com. I also have used Chat GPT to pick some notes on input, output, and so on. So we are going to discuss now. So input, so first of all, before we go to input, output, and all that, so supplier is the on the left side, it should be, and supplier is a local supplier. It could be milk vendor, it could be tea leaf supplier, sugar packer, and then you have the spice supplier and all that, right? So those who supply ginger, cardamom, and all. On the output side is a customer, right? Customer, walk-in customer, delivery partner, and then internal staff, all that are customers. In other words, interested parties. So let's magnify each and every section so that you will get an idea. So let me start with input. So input you can see here, and milk is an input. The milk could be fresh or evaporated, and then you can measure the quantity. How it is there? I have given anything input in the the Six Sigma we have learned y equal to f of x, right, plus c. Y is nothing but output that you can see here. This is output, and x is an input, right? So various x we have x1, x2, everything. And why it is always a good idea to mention as x1, x2, so that when even if you do the design of experiment, right, it can be easily you can find it out how we can do and which factor we can just address this in order to improve the performance, that is output or response. And c is the controllable, I mean c is actually control. It could be controllable factor, non-controllable factor, environment, all that comes in C. So let's go back, and that's one of the reason why I have given x1, x2, and all that. So milk is one, and then there are six inputs we have. Water is a one. Again, water should be potable, and then you can measure by volume per cup, and tea dust, leaves, and recipe grams that you can do sugar, and then you have that spices, right? So it could be ginger, it could be cardamom. If you want that tea to have a masala tea and all that, and this X5 will come into play. And then X6 is you have the other one. Cups also important. Cup and sauce is important. Filters and strainer, foil and ice. All that could be if it is ice tea and all that. All this could also be input. That should also be. So as much as elaboration you can do in the input side, it is always good so that you can find out, because the input is only controllable, right? We can find which factor in which we can control the process. Output on the other side, let me just flip this here. So in the output, you have that sweet tea, like balanced sugar, strong tea, higher, you can put like higher tea, that is water ratio, shorter milk or no milk and all that. In masala tea, where you add that X5 more ingredient to it. Milk tea, chai with the specific one, and iced tea, and so on and so forth, right? So these are all input, and this one is output. So output is always measured with the Y, right? So this is input and output is done. So very simple example before we go further. For example, let's say y equal to f of x plus c. So we say that the x is independent factor and y is a dependent factor. Why it is called dependent factor? Because y itself cannot change. It has to rely upon input. For example, one of the customers comes back and says that, okay, I need masala tea. Example. For masala tea, what you will do, you will add more of X5. X5 element you will add it, right? So your masala tea, that is Y3, will depend on X5, right? So when you control the input, automatically output will flow. Exactly the same thing. So this is one example of that. Let's go further. And now I have established something called input and output. Let's go further on this left side first. What I will do, I will minimize this one. And okay, so here kettle you have, and then you have stove, electric kettle, and strainer, and the measuring spoon, and weighing scale, thermometer, timers, clocks, cups, saucer, and lids, all that, cleaner and all that. These are all with what. And then how you have that how part is also very important. That standard recipe, right? For example, a tea you are giving like 200 ml water, 50 ml of milk. This is too much actually, but just an example. 3 gram of tea dust, and you have to brew it for 3 minutes. Example, right? And the SOP, standard operating procedure: water, boiling point, tea at 95 centigrade, and brew and all that, and hygiene and all that, right? And then you have a calibration schedule. We have to check that the status of that, whether the all the parameters are been coming good or not. And then on this side, you have with whom, right? With whom is what? Tea maker, and then you have that prepare the tea, primary, that is source, right? Server to customer, and supplier contacts, and you have to have approved suppliers and all that. Right? Cleaner and bar assistants, and quality checker, supervisor, and all. Right? Those are with whom. And this is what very important. How much you have to quantify how much is possible. For example, temperature, and in temperature you have that you can put like what is the temperature, breathe, right? Breathe 3 plus or minus 1, that means 2 to 4 minutes. And tea mass per cup, how much tea mass you can do, water, sugar, and cup yield, and all that you can add it as a metric, right? So you can start controlling the metric, everything. And let's say if you can make it good tea, and you have to have an interaction of this one, whether the temperature and the quality of the tea is interacted or not. So this will give a good idea of controlling the factor. Where, and then you have also have other factor also as well. Apart from this six factor, you have that where, kitchen, right, and clean, fires you can do and all that. When, brief to order, right. So this is also you can add it to your metric. Critical dimension, so critical timing, brief time, milk simmer time, holding time, all that, right. So this all is could be when, and the same when can be added into how much, and then you can set the metric out of it, right. So this is what it is. And then you have three other things which I really like it, and which I took from Chat GPT. Risk and control, contaminated ingredient we have. What is the control? You will control the supplier audit, milk, refrigerations, and potable water checks, everything. Under or over briefed, under brief or over briefed, you have that taste inconsistency and all that. What you will do, you will do that control, SOP, timer, prediction, sampling, everything. And then you have a safety risk, like you'll use the PPE, right? Personal protective equipment and training, clear SOP. Supplier shortage, like alternate supplier you'll have. All this is simple example, but you can write so many other things. An overholding brief team, because we have told like the maximum int is plus or minus 1, right? 1 minute. So what we can do, and how we can have that. And then you have record, recipe record, how much sales been happened, cleaning record, training record, all that. And then this is quick example of recipe, and 1 cup should be ml of water and milk and all that. And what is the target? What is the KPI? 95% of the cup within the strength respect average one. These are all the things which you can, for example, you wanted to go with 4.2 as in customer satisfaction, right? So like this, you can easily add it as such. So I hope you find this super useful, and this simple example we have taken, yet it is very useful to understand the concept of process approach and we dwelled more on turtle diagram method. Thank you so much. Take very good care of this.